Guys, so I'm making this video to share something that's kind of been on my mind recently, and I don't know where this is going, so just stick with it. Recently, a friend, one of my friends in Utah reached out to me because her daughter had just come out to them, and she was kind of unsure of what she should say to her, what advice she should give her daughter. So she was just asking me for some tips. So I had that conversation, but it got me thinking a lot about my experience growing up in that same community in Utah, and what it was like and what I went through. And then I also recently was watching the documentary Believer on HBO. It basically is following Dan Reynolds, who is the lead singer of Imagine Dragons, and of what he's doing to reach out to the LGBT and Mormon community and bring them together and all that. It's really good. I suggest it. Go watch it. So that also got me thinking about my past. I live somewhere where I'm able to just be myself and to be free, and for the most part, people are very accepting here, and I don't have to worry about being myself. I kind of forget that there are still places that exist where people don't have that, including where I grew up. When I left Utah, I kind of just left and didn't look back. I mean, I've been back to visit, but I kind of never went back to like relive those moments or to really even like think a lot about them, because I was just so ready to move on from that. But I'm realizing that there are still a lot of kids that are struggling, who are in Utah or other places similar to that are going through the same things that I went through. When I was going through that growing up, if I would have heard from anyone who had gone through something similar, or to just know that there were people out there who had been through the same thing as me, it would have made such a difference. And it would have made things just a little bit easier. And so I just figured it's something I don't really talk about. It comes up occasionally amongst friends, but I don't really dig that deep into what it was like growing up with this secret within this Mormon community. And I'm doing this for two main reasons. I really want, if by any chance a young person watches this and can connect to my story or gets something out of this story that helps them or inspires them, then that's amazing. That's really what I would love for that to happen. But the other reason I'm doing this is I'm sharing this for all of those friends and family that I still have in Utah who maybe don't know everything that I was going through at the time. Maybe if you hear my story, just a little bit of my story, then maybe it will open your minds up to what people in my situation, similar situations, what people are going through, and maybe it will help you have a better understanding and maybe make it easier to love them. Especially these kids in Utah that are struggling with this. They just need your love, and I think there's a lot of mixed messaging that's going around now, and I can't imagine how hard it is for them right now to deal with all of that. And there's a reason that suicide among teens in Utah is happening so frequently. The numbers are crazy. I initially was gonna rattle off all the stats, but you can go look into all of that, but it's insane. It's bad, and I think we can do more. We need to do more. So I'm just gonna share my story. I hope you can take something from this and maybe try to change the way you've been thinking about this. Maybe just spread a little kindness. I don't know, but I just feel like I need to be talking more about this, because it does no good for me to just keep it all to myself and not share what I went through, because I really think that maybe other people can gain something from that. So most of you know I was born and raised in Utah, obviously. I grew up in American Fork. When you think of Mormon culture, like, that's it. But everyone around me was Mormon. Well, there were very few people who were not. It was just the way it was. I didn't know anything else. Kind of like your typical Mormon kid. I did everything you were supposed to. I said my prayers, I read my scriptures, I went to church. I never skipped seminary. Like, I did everything. I was very shy. I was a very quiet kid. I kept to myself. For large portions of my childhood, I didn't have any friends. And when I did have friends, there were not very many. But there was a lot going on internally for me, and it was hard. It was hard. 'Cause I used to journal a lot, and I spent hours today going through these journals, and I found so many things, and it was kind of difficult, really, to read through some of this. That I constantly was saying things about how I'm like a terrible person, how I'm imperfect, how I'm a sinner. God loves me, but I don't know why he would. Reading this, I was constantly like putting myself down, and it's true. Like, that's growing up, that's what I was doing. I constantly felt like I was a failure. I knew that something was wrong, and that I wasn't supposed to be having these feelings, and it was something I was supposed to be able to overcome, and I couldn't. No matter how hard I tried, I couldn't get rid of this thing. So it made me feel terrible. Like, I was constantly failing. I thought I was a disappointment to God. I was a disappointment to everyone. Like, it was so important to be doing good, to show that I was like a righteous person, that I was doing everything I was supposed to. So I was putting on this pretend show that I was perfect, and that I was doing everything right, and that I was like this good Mormon kid. But I would feel so guilty about that. Like, I felt guilt all the time. I mean, I hated myself. I really did. And I don't want to make it sound like my childhood was terrible. There were a lot of good things in my childhood, but there was always a constant thing in the back of my mind telling myself that I was not good enough, that I was messing up, that I was failing. I figured I'll share just a few things that I found in my journals, just so you can get an idea of the types of things I was thinking in my head, how I was feeling. So this is what I wrote in my journal on November 9th, 1997. This is just written large across the whole page. I want to die, 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 I hate life. I should just kill myself and get it over with. That was me at 13 years old. So I don't know, on the outside, you see this person that seems to be doing well. My grades were amazing. Like I said, I was a good Mormon kid. So this is something I wrote in 2001. So I was in high school. Kind of similar things are throughout my journal. I have been having a problem with one sin in particular, and I've been battling it for years now. I have improved a lot this year, but I know that I need to get rid of this problem. It is really destroying me inside. Yeah. I was 16 when I wrote this. This one's kind of hard. So I hope I can get through this. I got into bed and seriously thought about how to kill myself. I had a feeling that I needed to pray, but I knew that God would stop me, and I didn't want to be stopped. After a while, I did finally say a prayer. I asked God to take my life tonight. I knew He wouldn't, but I'm so messed up that I asked anyway. After the prayer, I saw a sock on my bed. I shoved it into my mouth. I then plugged my nose. When I really started struggling to breathe, my natural instincts eventually took the sock out of my mouth. I really wanted to put it back in and try again, but for some reason I didn't. That was not my first time trying to do that. It was hard. It was hard. I don't like talking about it. But I feel like it's important to share these things so that people maybe understand what was going on. But yeah, I thought about not being alive a lot. I prayed a lot that God would just take my life. I went to bed a lot of nights crying and praying and begging God to just take me. I would ask Him that when I closed my eyes, they would not open again. It was hard. It was so hard to go through life and there's this thing that you're hiding and nobody seems to understand, or nobody even knows what you're going through, and everywhere you go, you're being told that this thing is bad and it's wrong, and you're just feeling guilty because you know that you have it and you can't talk about it, and you're trying to get rid of it and it's not working. And I mean, it's hard, and people were not intentionally trying to hurt me or say things that would make me feel like this. They didn't even know, but every time I'd go to church and hear anything about gay people, it was always negative. At school, when you hear the jokes about gay people, and I would just pretend that it was funny, and it was hurting me. Like, every little thing was hurting me, and that's too much for a kid. That's like too much for a kid to deal with. I'm so glad I made it, but I was so close to not making it. And it's scary to think about. But that's what's going on. The culture is forcing these kids to keep all of this inside, and it has to change. It has to change. When you turn 19, when I was growing up, as a Mormon, you are expected to go serve a 2-year mission. And I had decided I did not want to go on the mission. So anyway, this was around that time. This was in 2004. I wish I could explain why I have decided to stay home. I can't explain why. I am holding in a lot of crazy emotions. I don't know what's going on. But I do know one thing. I am entering into a part of my life that is going to be extremely difficult. I already notice myself sinking into a depression. I know it's weird, and trust me, I would stop it if I could. It seems like life is getting worse each day. And it doesn't help to know that deep inside, Everyone is disappointed in me. I feel alone. I am alone on this earth. I did feel alone. I mean, all growing up I felt pretty alone. There was no way I could open up and be myself. That just wasn't an option. So I kept everything to myself, and I kind of retreated from the world, and I was alone. Now we're into 2006. This was actually, I wrote this actually about a year before I actually started coming out. So I know that this needs to be written down. This is by far the most personal thing I have ever shared. It is an extremely emotional subject to me. I ask whoever reads this to please not judge me. This is all true and has been the hardest struggle of my life. I know that none of what I am about to write changes who I am today. I am the same person. This is just a struggle I have kept to myself until now. I don't know how to begin. For probably 10 years, I have struggled with same-sex attraction. Probably longer. I honestly don't know for sure, but it seems in my case that this was something I was born with. I have no other explanation. If I wasn't a member of the church, I am sure that I would be gay today. I guess that is why I sympathize with gay people so much. I know that it isn't necessarily something they chose, but this all makes me sound like a horrible person, I know. I am so sorry to disappoint anyone reading this. I am not a perfect person, and as you can see now, I am far from it. Again, please don't let this change your opinion of me. I am slowly overcoming all of this. It has been a long road and it's not over yet. I read that and it makes me so sad. I was still trying to fix myself. I still viewed this all as like a big problem that needed to be solved. I didn't need to be fixed. I didn't need to change. I just needed to accept who I was. But to make this long story short, I came out to a few close friends the next year when I was back living in Florida. That's when I really found myself, and I really discovered what it was like to be happy, and it was amazing. And I can't explain the change that happened in me when I did that. And it was another year before I really came out to my family and people in Utah. Really, my life was so much better because I knew who I was, and I allowed myself to explore that and to live in that, and it was amazing. And I just want anyone who's going through this or something similar to just know that it's okay. Other people have gone through this. Other people are going through this. You're not alone, even though it feels like you are. I promise you, you don't have to be. And there are people out there who can be there for you, who love you, who care about you. You're not alone in this. Eventually things will be good. Once you discover and let yourself be who you are, and you'll find your people, and you'll discover what it's like to really be happy. And then all of this will just be part of your story. And there are so many people out there who love you and just want you to be who you are. So just keep going. You'll make it. I know you'll make it, and I love you. Be strong. You're amazing.